So now we're still on 8.2, just the second video. We're going to look at multiplying a monomial with a polynomial, but then also adding. So it's kind of like taking this unit or this section 8.2 and we're combining it with 8.1. So looking at number 1, let's zoom up on this one. So first I'm just going to start with distributing. So we're going to distribute that 2p to everything first. So I get negative 8p cubed plus 10p squared. Now I'm going to multiply this negative 5. And so I get negative 10p squared and negative 40. And so now I just have to go ahead and combine like terms. Nothing combines with the negative 8p cubed, so I can go ahead and just write that down. But the p squares, oh, that's kind of fancy. Those are going to cancel out. And then I just have that negative 40 left over. Looking at number 2, so I'll start with distributing the 3. And so I get 15x squared and 6x. Then I distribute it to the negative 4, which gives me 12. Now in the second half, I'm distributing a negative x. So that gives me negative 7x cubed. So if you wanted to, you could put in a 1 here, just remembering that you're multiplying by negative 1, so it's going to flip some signs. And then I'll get negative 2x squared and positive 3x. So now it is time to combine like terms. I just happened to see that this is my biggest exponent. So remember, not only we're going to simplify, but we're going to make sure we put this in standard form with our highest degree going first. So that leaves me with negative 7x cubed first. Then I've got 15x squared minus 2, or plus a negative, however you choose to look at that. That gives me 13x squared. Then I've got 6x and 3x, so that gives me 9. And then nothing is going to combine with that negative 12, so I'll tack that on at the end. And then number 3. All right, well, this one's like a doozy. So not only are we distributing, but we're going to distribute with multiple variables. So be careful when we're combining like terms here. So I'll distribute the 15, so that gives me 150 y cubed. That stays by itself. I'm not multiplying it by a y, but then t to the power of now 6. Plus, and I'll distribute that to that 5. That's going to give me 75. Let's see, y squared and t squared. I have to zoom out for this problem. Give myself a little bit more space. So now I'll distribute the negative 2. So I get negative 2y squared and t squared. And then distribute to that 4y squared to get negative 8y cubed. Okay, so remember when it comes to combining like terms, we want the same last name. So I don't see any other term that has a y cubed and t6. That has a degree technically as a monomial of 9. That's the highest degree, so I'm going to go ahead and write that first. 150 y3 and t6. And let's see, now the 75 and the 2, negative 2 I should say, y squared t squared, those have the same last name with that y squared t squared thing going on. So then I would combine that to give me 73 y squared t squared. And then finally, nothing combines with negative 8y cubed, so I just go ahead and write that at the end. All right, so if I'm not mistaken, that's the end of what's left on this page. So we're going to go on to the next page. So this is fun. We're going to actually solve polynomials where I have actually basically polynomials on both sides, which we've already done this. I just never said that we were solving a polynomial per se. And we weren't dealing with exponents. So the first thing I want to actually do is distribute everything. So I'll distribute the 2a here, so I get 10a minus 4a. Distribute this 3a here to get 6a squared. Ooh, and I just realized I made a mistake. Let me circle back over here to that 10a, because that should be 10a squared. I apologize. So back to distributing that 3a to the 6, that gives me 18a plus 8. Now, before I actually go ahead and I distribute on the other side, I'm actually just going to condense this really quick. So 10a squared and 6a squared is 16a squared, and then the negative 4a and the 18 is going to give me 14a, and then plus 8. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of scooch this over, and let's look on the other side. So now I'm going to distribute that a, so I get 4a squared plus a. distribute the 2a to get 12a squared and 8a minus 8a. And then I gotta scooch this over just a little bit more to bring down that plus 50. So now I'm gonna combine like terms, and if I zoom out, you'll see that I'm gonna write this right next to where I simplified on the left. So I've got 4a squared, 12a squared to give me 16a squared. So, and then positive a plus negative 8 gives me negative 7a, and then plus 50. All right, so now I've got variables on both sides. Not only do I have an a squared on both sides, but I have an a on both sides, the 14 and the 7. So interestingly enough, if I try and get everything to one side, so for instance, let's subtract the 16a squared. So I'm moving it over to the left, and what I do to one side, I must do to the other. And notice how it cancels. Interesting. So now I'm left with, and I'm actually left with hardly any room, but I'm left with 14a plus 8 is equal to negative 7a plus 50. And now we have a linear equation which we know how to solve. So I'm gonna write this in a different color. We're gonna go over here. So the next thing I want to do is add 7a to both sides. So that's gonna give me 21a plus 8 is equal to 50. And I can go ahead and subtract 8 to both sides. So that gives me 21a is equal to 42. Divide by 21, and a equals 2. So while that seemed very daunting at the beginning, it really wasn't that bad, right? So let's look at number 5. Why don't you guys try simplifying this on your own and check back in and see if you did it correctly. All right, so I would begin with distributing the 2x, so that gives me 2x squared plus 8x. Bring down that plus 7. Now this set of parentheses really isn't necessary, so I'll just take it out. But I will distribute that 2x here to give me 2x squared plus 2x, and then making sure to bring down that plus 12. So now I'll go ahead and kind of simplify both sides. The left-hand side actually can't be simplified, so it's just 2x squared plus 8x plus 7. Now the right-hand side, I just have 2x squared, nothing combines with that, but I have this x and 2x to give me 3x, and then the 8 and the 12 to give me 20. So if I go ahead and start solving from here, I like to get everything to one side, so let's start with that 2x squared, and if you notice, when getting it to one side, it cancels. So now I'm left with 8x plus 7 is equal to 3x plus 20. Whew, that's convenient. So now I'll move the 3x to the other side. I've kind of run out of room here, so we move this over. So 8x minus 3x, okay, that's going to give me 5x plus 7 is equal to 20. And then I will subtract 7 to both sides, and so I get 5x is equal to 13. And now I'll divide by 5, and I can leave this as a fraction, and x is equal to 13 over 5. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, well, that's 2 3/5. Or that's 2.6. Either one. All right, final problem for this video, number 6. Try this one on your own and see if you get the same answer as me. So you'd start by distributing the 9c, so you get 9c squared minus 99c. Distribute the 10 to get 50c minus 30 is equal to, and then we'll distribute that 3c there to get 3c squared plus 15c. Ugh, these problems take up too much space, huh? Distribute that c to get, let's see, plus 6c squared, and then minus 3c. See, I can just barely fit this in, minus 30. All right, let's go ahead and condense this a little bit, shall we? So let's simplify the left-hand side. So I get 9c squared. Now, negative 99c plus 50 is going to give me negative 49c minus 30 is equal to, and then I've got 3c squared and 6c to give me another 9c squared. 15c minus 3 gives me 12c, and then we'll bring down that minus 30. We'll go ahead and subtract 9c squared to both sides. They cancel out very conveniently. Bring down the rest of my problem here. And then I'll go ahead and You know what? Let's actually add the 49c over because I prefer to have a positive coefficient. I don't know about you guys. But I get negative 30 is equal to, let's see, 61c minus 30. And then we'll add 30 to the other side. And if you notice, that's going to give me 0 is equal to 61c. And if you divide by 61, we get that c is equal to 0. So all that work just to figure out that c is 0.